Have you ever thought of yourself as living a life not really yours? As if you were reading a script someone else wrote, your parents, instructors, or society? Deep down, you know this isn't right, but you're not sure how to correct it. Every day you get up, put on a mask, and do your responsibilities. However, you constantly have a persistent sense of something lacking. This sense of estrangement is not accidental. It's a clue. You might not be living your actual life. Most people spend their life not really knowing who they are. They perform the roles society has assigned them, therefore projecting an identity different from their own. The fact is, though, this isn't your narrative. This movie will walk you through the process of individuation, or finding your actual self and living truly. Though the road is difficult, it results in freedom and gratification. Are you prepared to learn your true nature? Let's start and work toward you starting to live the life that is really yours. Have you ever wondered, who am I really? Though many of us shy away from it, this is among the most crucial questions you will ever ask. Most of the time, we get so engrossed in the roles we perform in life, that of parent, worker, friend, or spouse, that we neglect to pause and consider who we are outside those positions. Renowned psychologist Carl Jung said most of us live apart from our actual selves. Rather than live truly, we don a mask, what he termed a persona. We design this mask to blend in with society, satisfy expectations, and help us to avoid judgment. But we start to forget who we actually are with time. The mask becomes all we know as we grow so acclimated to it. Living behind a mask has the drawback in making one empty. There is always a sense that something is lacking regardless of our level of accomplishment or the acceptance of others. Though deep down, we still feel that we are not really fulfilled, even if we have all the outside components we believe we need to be happy. Here is the application of the individuation idea. Individuation is the process of realizing who you truly are behind the mask, of becoming entire. Jung thought that a life of actual meaning could not be lived without this process. It entails looking inward, facing the aspects of ourselves we have suppressed or disregarded, and embracing every facet of who we are, light as well as dark. Still, this trip isn't simple. It's about unlearning all the programming we have got over our life, not only about discovering our identity. Young children are taught to follow the rules, fit in, and repress some aspects of themselves. Whether it's our anger, our grief, or our need to be unique, we learn to hide it so others could accept it. Consider your early years. How many times we're advised to don't be angry or stop being too loud? Though they had a long-lasting effect, these messages were not designed to hurt us. We absorb these guidelines over time and start to build an identity not totally our own. We cease really expressing ourselves and start to play a part. And it gets more difficult to know who we really are the longer we live in this manner. Acknowledging the mask we wear marks the first step towards individuation. The persona aids us in negotiating the social scene. It is not intrinsically negative. We need it for interaction with others, for business, and for correspondence. The risk arises, though, when we start to identify so deeply with our persona that we overlook our uniqueness beyond the tasks we do. Living in a way that separates from our actual self has implications. Jung cautioned, it causes emotional pain and discontent. You have experienced this separation if you have ever felt as though something is lacking in your life, regardless of all you have accomplished. The truth is, there is no fulfillment you are looking for in the world. You buried beneath layers of indoctrination right here. The question is, though, are you ready to face your actual self, to find what is beneath the conditioning and the mask? This road is difficult and calls for a readiness to face the aspects of ourselves we might not choose to see, but this is the only path to release the limitations society, family, and even yourself have set on you. You will have to wonder at some time, is the life you are living truly yours? Alternatively, are you only fulfilling a role? Most individuals never give this issue much thought. Their lives are lived by default, in line with others' expectations. They never give any thought to whether they are living truly. But you have to go beyond the mask if you want to achieve satisfaction. First, it begins with self-awareness. First of all, one realizes the mask is only that, a mask, not who you really are. Realizing this will help you start to investigate what lies under. Years of hiding or repression of passions, feelings, and facets of yourself could reveal themselves now. Although at first uncomfortable, these aspects of you are vital in your path toward individuation. You may feel overwhelmed or doubtful when you start to face these secret sides of yourself. This is the norm. Change is not easy. Hence, it is normal to be terrified of what you could find. Remember, though, that this process is more about integration than it is of rejection. You are not seeking to eradicate aspects of oneself. Rather, you are coming to embrace all you are. It gets interesting here. You start to feel fresh freedom when you start to accept the aspects of yourself you have denied. You no longer have to follow the guidelines set by others or don the mask. You begin to live more naturally and base decisions on your actual self instead of trying to satisfy others. But there is still another layer to this path. The shadow, the unconscious portion of oneself we have suppressed over time, is known as the shadow. It covers the facets of ourselves we wish we could face, that of our rage, jealousy, or insecurity. These qualities are only aspects of us that we have been taught to hide. They are not intrinsically negative. The issue is that ignoring the shadow often surfaces in negative ways. Emotional outbursts, self-sabotage, and discontent can all follow from it. The individuation process depends on first realizing the shadow. It's about knowing and combining all sides of yourself, including the facets you've been taught to ignore. This helps you to get whole once more. You are not having to hide who you are. You should not be misled, though. There is no short fix on the road toward individuation. It is an ongoing lifetime process. You will meet fresh difficulties and problems as you keep facing your actual self. But every action you take moves you toward the person you were always supposed to be. Want to release the masks you wear and discover your actual potential? Where we will explore the shadow and how it shapes your behavior more thoroughly. Understanding your actual self depends on this area of your psyche. You should not miss it. The first section covered the mask we wear, the persona, as well as the path of individuation. But we also have to investigate another vital component of this trip, the shadow. The shadow is everything about you that over years you have suppressed, denied, or disregarded. Though it's the part of you you avoid, it's also the secret to knowing your actual self. The shadow does more than only highlight your bad side of your nature. It also involves the knowledge you have gained to repress ideas that society or your upbringing said are inappropriate. Perhaps you were advised not to display anger, or that expressing grief was weak. Maybe you learned to suppress your own wants in order to satisfy others. Whatever it is, these bits of you didn't just disappear. They were driven into the unconscious, and now they shape your life in ways you might not even know. Have you ever, for instance, experienced intense envy or wrath and then pondered where it originated? Even to yourself, you might have responded to something in a way that seemed overdone. These indicate the emergence of your shadow. Emotions or needs suppressed do not vanish. Rather, they discover means of expression, usually in ways that contradict our actual desired self. The shadow is not your enemy, yet here is the drawback. Like the persona, you possess this component. The shadow unlocks your inner self. The persona guides you over the earth. It embodies the traits you might have been reluctant to admit, but are fundamental for your authenticity. The shadow hides your originality, your actual power, even your actual wants. You have to bring the shadow into your awareness if you are to be entire. This integration process does not entail unquestioningly embracing everything in the shadow. It involves realizing its existence and knowing how it affects your life. For instance, if you have been suppressing emotions of rage for years since you were advised it is unacceptable to show, avoiding it has caused a great deal of inner conflict. When you at last face that rage, you may discover it is not as strong as you had imagined. Actually, it could enable you to assert yourself more boldly and create reasonable limits. The shadow actually has a great deal of power. Ignoring it usually helps us to underline control from behind the scenes. It shapes our decisions, responses, even our relationships. But when we bring it into view, we seize authority over it. We are free to stop acting out of outdated behaviors that don't benefit us. Rather, we can feed good change in our life from the energy of the shadow. One of the most crucial things to understand about the shadow is that it transcends mere unpleasant emotions or attributes. It also relates to the aspects of yourself you have ignored or stifled since they did not suit the picture you have developed for yourself. Though deep down, you yearn for connection and vulnerability, maybe you have been overly preoccupied with being strong and autonomous. Maybe you have been so preoccupied trying to live up to others that you have forgotten what really makes you happy. Just as much of you as the more obvious sides come from these neglected areas of yourself. Your actual self is held there. You will feel more whole and real as you start to combine them. Accepting all aspects of who you are, not only the ones you find easy to love, is the path of individuation. Still, including the shadow is not always simple. It calls for a great degree of self-awareness and a readiness to confront issues you have spent years avoiding. At first, it could be awkward, and you may come across memories or feelings you would like ignore. But the process includes this unpleasantness. It is evidence that you are approaching your actual self. You will also start to see changes in your interaction with the world as you start to incorporate the shadow. You will begin to make choices in line with your actual wishes, not only in line with what others want of you. You will discover that you no longer need to don the persona mask to be accepted. Rather, you will grow more real, confident, and close to the people around you. But this process requires time. It is not something one falls asleep over. The road of individuation is a lifetime. New layers of the shadow will always be waiting for you to discover, new facets of yourself to embrace. But every action you do moves you toward the person you were always supposed to be. Check out our video, Never Be Manipulated Again, Machiavelli's Smart Tips. Now, if you're seeking further ideas on how to take charge of your life and avoid being swayed by other factors, we explore Machiavelli's techniques for grasping power dynamics and ways to resist exploitation in this video. Understanding these ideas will benefit your job, daily life, and personal relationships, as well as other areas. Knowing how manipulation operates helps you to grab control and shield yourself from unwelcome influence. Don't miss it. Click the link immediately. Remember that merging the shadow does not mean discarding your persona as we work through the individuation process. Both reflect significant aspects of your identity. One is to strike equilibrium. You should make sure your persona doesn't rule your life, even if you don't have to give it up totally. You have to figure out how to live really and still interact responsibly with the surroundings. All set to venture farther into the psyche? Watch this space for the next section, which looks at the collective unconscious and the archetypes influencing your life. Knowing these universal patterns will enable you to release your actual potential and direct you on the road to individuation. You would want not to miss what is ahead. We should now address another crucial component of the individuation process, the collective unconscious and the archetypes, after we have gone over the persona and the shadow. Carl Jung first presented these ideas to enable us to grasp the more profound levels of human psyche. Simply said, the part of the unconscious mind everyone shares is known as the collective unconscious, comprising universal patterns and pictures that mold human behavior, emotions, and ideas. Its shapes these are natural in all of us, regardless of culture or time period. They are not acquired by experience. Jung thought of the collective unconscious as a vast reservoir of knowledge and experiences linking all people. Archetypes show themselves from this collective unconscious. Archetypes are basic human experiences expressed in primordial images or symbols. They are ubiquitous patterns that affect our perspective of the surroundings and ourselves. Stories, mythologies, religions, even our dreams all feature archetypes. Considering the hero archetype, for instance, the hero is someone who overcomes difficulties, confronts enormous challenges, and sets out on a transforming adventure. From old tales to contemporary films, almost every society has this character present in some form. The hero stands for the part in us yearning development, bravery, and self-betterment. Whether or not we can identify with this archetype, everyone carries it within. There are, nevertheless, also many additional archetypes. The wise old man or wise woman archetype stands for knowledge and reflection. This archetype is on the search of knowledge and insight. The rebel archetype questions authority, opposes the status quo, and searches transformation. A need to aid and defend others drives the caregiver character. Every one of these archetypes captures several facets of human nature, and we all live according to unique combinations of them. There is a crucial lesson here though. We do not deliberately pick which archetypes shape us. Emerging from the unconscious, they help to define our behavior and interaction with the surroundings. Sometimes we may really relate to one certain archetype, perhaps seeing ourselves as the hero or the carer. The risk arises though when we disregard the other archetypes and grow unduly fixated on one. When we solely connect with the hero, for instance, we could feel compelled to always be strong and never let ourselves display frailty. If we just identify with the caregiver, we might disregard our own needs in the process and devote all of our effort into serving others. How therefore do these archetypes manifest themselves in your life? They show up in your dreams, impulses, and repeating behavioral patterns quite a bit. If you find yourself continuously playing the hero, for instance, always striving to conquer obstacles and save others, this could be a sign of too strong attachment to that archetype. Alternatively, perhaps you find yourself reacting in specific ways to conflict or stress. Whether or not you know of them, these reactions could be related to the archetypes that shape you. Still, why is this important? You have greater power over your own story the more you know the archetypes at work in your life. You start to see you are not limited to one role. You can combine several archetypes to let you communicate several facets of your personality. This helps you to be more real and balanced. If you overlook the impact of these archetypes though, they can govern you in negative ways. You can discover yourself carrying out roles that don't benefit you and caught in repeating cycles. This is why the individuation process is so crucial. It helps you to take charge of your own story and identify and combine the archetypes impacting your life. If you believe, for instance, that you have been living as the hero, continually striving for success and overcoming obstacles, you may find that this has left you feeling worn out and alienated from your actual self. Maybe you have been so preoccupied with reaching outward achievement that you have missed your emotional requirements or your need for connection. Starting to balance the hero archetype with other archetypes that let you be more well-rounded requires awareness of its influence. Another prevalent problem is when people start to reject the traits of others since they are so attached with one archetype. Those who strongly identify with the rebel archetype, who continuously questions the system and challenges authority, should especially relate with this. Ignoring the other archetypes, such the caregiver or the wise one, might cause the rebel to feel isolated and frustrated, even if she can be a potent tool for change. A more fulfilling life results from juggling the rebel with more loving or wise side of the self. The secret here is balance. We must combine the archetypes inside us much as we combine the shadow. We come whole by doing this. We are free to stop acting in a manner unfit for ourselves. Rather, we can really embrace all the several facets of who we are. Jung intended individuation, becoming the person you really are, not just the roles society has assigned you. How then do you begin incorporating your archetypes? Self-awareness comes first. Start observing the recurrent themes in your dreams and ideas. See the positions you usually fill in your daily life. Always the hero, the carer, the rebel, or something else? Once you find the archetypes that rule your life, start to wonder how they might be impacting your relationships and choices. Consider then the archetypes you could have missed, you have overlooked or suppressed. What aspects of yourself? Perhaps you avoided the wise one archetype since it makes you uncomfortable to own that you do not know everything. Maybe you have neglected the caregiver since your own needs have taken front stage. Identify these underused areas of yourself and try to include them into your daily life. Knowing the archetypes guiding your life, how may you apply this awareness to live more truly? The next section will look at the results of avoiding individuation. It is about acting, not only about knowing the archetypes. Don't miss what lies ahead. The secret to lead a really happy life. Congratulations on faring this far in your road of self-discovery. You now know of the shadow, the persona, and the archetypes influencing your conduct. These are strong instruments for enabling you to live a more genuine life and come to know who you actually are. Recall that the path of individuation is not one night trip. It takes time, bravery, and a readiness to face aspects of yourself you might have been dodging. Still, the payoff is well worth it. Starting to combine the several facets of your psyche can help you to feel more whole and close to your own self. You will be free to make decisions in line with your most intense wants, free from outside expectations or societal roles. Are you therefore ready to keep on this road? Keep searching, keep challenging, and keep developing your actual self only waiting for you. I appreciate you viewing. Maybe this will motivate you to move forward.